Hi guys, I am Lanada and I am presenting about the inductive and deductive reasoning. So first, what is inductive reasoning? Inductive reasoning moves from specific observations to broad generalizations. When there is little to no existing literature on a topic, it is common to perform inductive research because there is no theory to test. So, the inductive reasoning is nag-observe ka ng specific thing or specific na kahit ano, and then iisipin mo na lahat ng magiging resulta ng specific observation mo is pare-parehas lahat. So, next is limitations of an inductive approach. A conclusion reached through an inductive process cannot be proven, but it can be invalidated. Example of inductive reasoning. You observe 1,000 flights from low-cost airlines. All of them experience a delay, which is in line with your theory. However, you can never prove that flight 1001 will also be delayed. So, dito, na-observe mo na lahat ng 1,000 flights sa low-cost airlines is lahat na delay. So, iniisip mo din na pati yung flight na pang 1001, 1001 is madidelay them. So, another example of inductive reasoning is kumuha ka sa bag mo ng barya and yung nakuha mo is a peso coin, 1 peso coin. Yung 1 peso coin na yun is a type of coin. Syempre. So, therefore, lahat ng coins na laman ng bag mo is 1 peso lahat. That's your conclusion. So, next is deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is a basic form of valid reasoning. Always start with a theory while conducting deductive research. Ito naman yung resulta ng inductive research mo, yung theory. So, yung deductive reasoning needs putting these theories to the test. So, lahat ng theory na nagawa or naging theory natin na nabuo doon sa inductive reasoning is kailangan natin siyang itest dito sa deductive reasoning. You can't perform deductive investigation if there isn't yet a theory. So, parang gagawa muna tayo ng inductive research, bubuo muna tayo ng theory bago tayo makapag-perform ng deductive investigation. So, next is limitations of an deductive approach. Deductive reasoning's conclusion can only be true if all of the inductive study's premises are true and the words are clear. Magiging totoo lang yung deductive reasoning kung yung mga theory natin sa inductive reasoning is totoo, naging totoo. And then example, all dogs have fleas. Beno is a dog. Beno has fleas. Another example is all birds have feathers. All parrots are birds. So, lahat ng birds may balahibo. Yung parrot is isa siyang type ng ibon. So, therefore, parrots have feathers. Lahat ng parrot is may balahibo.
My name is Nepomuceno, and I will discuss to you mutually exclusive versus collectively exhaustive categories. A quick history of MISI. The concept of MISI was brought into the world by Barbara Minto, who worked at McKinsey in 1960s and 1970s. One of the most foundational ideas in consulting problem solving is MISI. If you have been around current and former strategies consultants, you've probably heard someone say this, typically pronounced missing. Put simply, it is a principle that will help you sharpen your thinking and simply complex ideas into something that can be easily understood. So let me define to you what is mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive is a concept from probability theory that says two events cannot occur at the same time. For example, if you roll a dice or a 6 die, the outcomes of a 6 or 3 are mutually exclusive. When applied to information, mutually exclusive ideas would be distinctly separate and not overlapping. The categories response options must be mutually exclusive, which means they do not overlap with one another. So here are some examples of mutually exclusive. Turning left and turning right, tossing a coin, heads and tails, cards, kings and aces. Next is collectively exhaustive. Means that the set of ideas is inclusive of all possible options. Survey response options must be collectively exhaustive, meaning they provide all possible options that could comprise a response list. For example, if we roll a die, then it must land on one of the following values: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Thus, we would say that the set of events 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is collectively exhaustive because the die must land on one of those values. So that is the difference between mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive categories. Thank you. Hello, I'm Nepomuceno and I'm here again to discuss to you the stratified random sampling of a probability sampling. So let us define stratified random sampling. Stratified random sampling is used when your population is divided into strata. It is a characteristic that like male and female or educational level. And you want to include the stratum when taking your sample. The stratum may be already defined like census data, or you might make the stratum yourself to fit the purposes of your research. It is very similar to random sampling. However, these samples are more difficult to create as you must have detailed information about what categories your population falls into. It allows researchers to obtain a sample population that best represents the entire population being studied. It involves dividing the entire population into homogeneous groups called strata. It differs from simple random sampling, which involves the random selection of data from an entire population, so each possible sample is equally likely to occur. For example, consider an academic researcher who would like to know the number of BSIT students in school year 2008 who will receive a job offer within 3 months of graduation. So this researcher soon find that there were almost 200,000 BSIT graduates for that year. He might decide to just take a simple random sample of 50,000 graduates and run a survey. Better still, he could divide the population into strata and take a random sample from the strata. To do this, he would create population groups based on the gender, age range, race, country of nationality, and career background. A random sample from each stratum is taken in a number proportional to the stratum size when compared to the population. The subset of the strata are then pooled to form a random sample. Important: the stratified sample is used to highlight differences between groups in a population, as opposed to simple random sampling, which treats all members of a population as equal, with an equal likelihood of being sampled.
non-probability sampling. So what is the non-probability sampling? Individuals are chosen based on non-random criteria in a non-probability sample, and not every individual has a chance of being included. So this sample is quicker to obtain and less expensive. Mas madali natin siyang makukuha and mas mura. But mas cheap, but it has a larger risk of sampling bias. As a result, the population inferences or yung mga assumption na mapipicture out natin or you can draw are weaker than with the probability samples, and your conclusions may be more limited. Even if you're working with a non-probability sample, you should try to make it as a representative of the population as feasible or mas useful. So next is one type of non-probability sample is the snowball sampling. Snowball sampling can be used to attract participants via other participants if the population is difficult to reach. The number of people you have access to snowballs as you get in the contact with more people. So when you do a research, gagamitin mo yung snowball sampling if yung population or yung mga participants na need mo sa research mo is hard to reach or parang imposible na magawa mo kasi nga wala kang participants. So, an example of snowball sampling is you are researching experiences of homelessness in your city. Since there is no list of all homeless people in the city, probability sampling isn't possible. You meet one person who agrees to participate in the research, and she puts you in contact with other homeless people that she knows in the area. So, yun nga. Your research is all about sa mga taong walang natitirahan or homeless people, they say. So, since wala ka namang list or you had no idea kung sino-sino ba yung mga taong walang natitirahan, makikipag-meet ka sa isang tao which is nag-agree or pumayag siya na maging participant dun sa research na ginagawa mo. So, he or she keeps you in touch or in contact dun sa ibang homeless people na kilala niya in the area. And there's a possibility na yung homeless people na kilala nung taong nag-participate sa research mo is may iba pang kilala na homeless people din. So, your research may be possible. Kaya siya tinawag na snowball sampling kasi 'di ba ang snowball is binabato, pinapasa. So, para maging possible yung research mo, sa isang tao na kilala mo, tapos magtatanong ka kung may kilala siya na yun nga homeless person or people. So that's all. Thank you.